You're watching It's Life Live with your hosts, Juan Lee and Oliver Marcel. Come join us for enriching, enlightening, encouraging, and thought-provoking conversation. Let's go. What's happening, everybody?
Hey, Oliver, what's going on? Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to Clear Journeys. It's Life Live podcast, Wednesday night. Welcome. How's everything, Oliver?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. You know, we were talking off camera, about the importance of the immune system. It's not like me to be down so with such close proximity back to back. You know what I'm saying? I was down in October for a little bit, and then picked up something again this week. So other than that, man, everything is cool. You know, it's life, man, and we're pushing along and navigating the way we should, man. How things on your end?
Hey, look, it's more difficult than I had planned. I tell you, my sister came in Tuesday. What's today? Wednesday. She came in for Thanksgiving. And by the way, everyone, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, everybody.
Yeah. And my day, I'll put it like this. Next year, I won't quite put too much into this week.
Gotcha.
I won't put so much into this week.
And you know what? You know what's crazy? We kind of all do that. I'm kind of mellowing out this year. Normally, I'm on the road. We're traveling. Up north, and we're doing things, and you try to cram as much as you can into these next few days, and then you're paying for it next week. Like, man, I wish I had 2 days to rest. So we're like, you know what? We gonna actually just chill out.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to learn what Thanksgiving means. It means to be thankful and just rest and let it come to us. But man, it seems like we want to stick so much into it, and then it's everybody's talking about Black Friday and everybody, all these ads and stuff. So now you're thinking it's Christmas right around the corner. Yeah, so it's like you get started and it gets running and you don't know when to stop or how it's going to stop. But we got to rest. We got to
rest. This is a topic for another show. But man, the whole Black Friday and Christmas shopping and Christmas season, like I'm not a Scrooge. I used to be. I admit it. I used to be. My wife has worked on me. I can do without all of that.
Yeah. Hey, well,
I'm gonna be honest. I can do without all of that.
We
can skip right to January 1.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. I can do without all of that.
All right. Yeah, that right. It might need to be another conversation there, but
now there's a story behind that, so maybe that could be another conversation.
Well, I hear you. I mean, because this is going to be something interesting because we're coming up onto the end of the year, and I think we're going to probably have maybe 2 or 3 episodes into December, and then things are going to change for us a little bit, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. But yeah, it might be the time. And you know what? Maybe next week will be the time to do that, because we're going to be you and me again, just you and me next week.
That'll work. We can do that.
But let's talk.
I'll share the backstory.
Yeah, let's welcome our guests. If you're the first time out, we thank you for showing up. We appreciate you for being here. My name is Juan Lee. This is Oliver Marcel. This is a podcast that's on Clear Journey. It's a nonprofit that supports individuals that are looking for answers to life's challenges. We educate and provide resources so that you might be able to live a more successful life. We align ourselves with a mindset that gives you access to the resources that we have so that you might be able to use them to the fullest so that you can reach your full potential. If you want to learn more about Clear Journey, we go over to our website where we have more resources there for us. I'm an author of a book called Love Made Simple, which is the foundation of our nonprofit, because it's really about the mindset. It's about getting the right mindset to navigate life successfully. And what we do is we connect the mindset with the resources so that we can navigate life more successfully. Um, Also, one of the key areas that we address, it's finances, relationships, and health and wellness. And one of the resources that we provide, if you go over to our website, is a book. It's an ebook. It's free. It's called um, "How to Budget Made Easy: The Guide to Taking Control of Your Money." We think and we believe that that's essential, being able to have the right mindset to navigate your finances, because we believe that it's the foundation. It's the key to meeting and reaching your dreams, being able to finance, being able to manage your money. Okay. So by all means, go over, pick that up. We really appreciate that. If you are here, like I said, for the first time, we thank you. If you're returning, thank you for coming back, being a part of our community. First time.
First time. Shout out to, and please forgive me if I butcher this. Shout out to Giovanni. First time. Alicia Walker invited me. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you.
Oh, well,
Um,
thank you. Really appreciate that. Hope you enjoy what we're going to be talking about tonight, because I think we have something that I think is really in line with what we're going to be launching in the next year. And it's going to be a very enlightful, I think, conversation. Looking forward to it. Got another
Yep, got
first
another
timer.
first timer. Welcome, welcome, Ola. Hopefully, I said that correctly. Listen. I feel so wonderful. Let me put up. I'm gonna put up Giovanni's comment in just a second. I feel so great that I pronounced that correctly, because I listen. I have a habit of not doing that. You know what I'm saying? I sometimes I don't get it right. Alicia is in the building. Shout out to Alicia. Thank you for being here. You said it perfectly. I love it. Thank you. That
Well, I like I said, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. And by all means, if you know others that would be interested, please share our link with those that you know and invite them. We are streaming on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube right now. And also, if there's anyone from my meetup group, thanks for being here. We really appreciate you. Look forward to you being here, part of the community, so that we can grow together. Because that's what we're here to build a community, so that we can, you know, iron sharpens iron. So we're looking to increase those numbers. Oliver, is there anything you want to say before we get started, before we introduce our guest for tonight?
no, looking forward to looking forward to this conversation. Like we said it in the beginning, happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Those of you who this is a celebratory time for you, and for those of you who this is not a celebratory time for you, just the having an attitude of gratitude works every day, not,
Absolutely.
not just this week. And so, um, we're grateful for you all who support us in this endeavor, who hang out with us from week to week, and prayerfully you gain some level of insight, inspiration, and encouragement from these conversations.
And by all means, as we go through this conversation, if you'd like to add to it, by all means, let us hear what you think about the conversation that we're having. And we want to make you a part of the conversation. We really appreciate you being here. Thanks a lot. So let's get our guest on. Um, our guest is a licensed qualified mental health professional, adult service provider, and a retired naval United States Navy commander. His undergraduate was in general psychology in North Carolina Central University. His master's of arts is in community and clinical psychology from Norfolk State University. His doctorate is in strategic leadership from Regent University, and his passion has been for over 24 years as an employee in the mental health counselor senior for the Commonwealth of Virginia's Department of Corrections. Tonight, we're going to talk about something that's connecting everything that we do here at Clear Journey We're going to be talking about how love and psychology works together in shaping our thoughts, actions, and relationships. Let me welcome our guest, Dr. James Brockington Jr.
Welcome,
Hey,
welcome.
welcome. Hello, Oliver. Juan, how you doing?
I'm doing good. What I
Doing
forgot
well.
to say, what I forgot to say in that thing is that I've known Brock for about 2 years. I
Okay.
say now. So we've attempted this one time, but now he's back, and before the end of the night, we're gonna have more opportunities, or after tonight, we'll have more opportunities to see him on a more regular basis. So how you
Okay,
doing, Brock?
now you know that if you're going to have me on a more regular basis, you're going to have some refreshments in the blue room.
Right, right.
I'm
We got to
just
work on
saying,
that.
you know,
You
we're
know,
elevating the game now. I'm just
hey,
saying.
no, because you know what? You no longer will be in the green room, okay?
Ooh.
You will no longer be in the green room. Thank you.
Oliver,
Uh,
we're going to hold him to that special privilege thing.
That's right.
yeah,
That's
All
right.
right.
okay,
That's
I'm
right.
okay,
feeling it. I'm feeling it.
We're gonna yeah,
absolutely not.
we're gonna get you stepped up. We're gonna get
All
you
right.
stepped up.
Big time, big leagues, as
Yeah.
they
So,
say.
so do this for us. Won't
Sure.
you introduce yourself to the people?
Well, once again, as Juan was very instrumental in presenting to you, I have been very passionate and driven about mental health management related issues in our communities. It has become a life calling for me. North Carolina Central University started at Spark, that general degree in psychology, which was in conjunction with the experiences that the Naval ROTC provided, gave me a well-rounded view of just how much of an impact we can have in shaping communities. Serving in the Navy drove that point home again. And by expansion of that, it only seemed natural that the masters at Norfolk State, you notice I'm shouting out those HBCUs in the background,
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. Indeed.
punching that ticket as we go along. And following it out, rounding it out, if you will, at Regent University and their organizational leadership, strategic leadership program gave me a sense of the best of both worlds. How you can be a community planner, a resource manager, and still an activist and an active ingredient in the shaping of said communities. I'm going to use that big 22nd century word phrase that we have for it. It's now called psychoergonomic engineering. No longer a community clinical psychologist, but just to get that out there and make sure that you know what the tagline is going to be. I think what we're going to accomplish tonight, Juan Oliver, is to add some meat to the bone of what Juan's book on Love Made Simple speaks to. Now, I'm going to tell you from the start. Psychologists speak in acronyms.
Okay.
We have big ideas associated with brief expansion of words. So when we talk about love, what we're actually talking about is a living, organic, vibrant emotion.
I love that.
Living, organic, and vibrant emotion. And there's nothing simple about that.
Mhm.
There is a complexity associated with love that has its ability to be difficult to explain unless you do have an appreciation for a separation point between what is an emotion and what is a feeling, because they're not the same thing. People have emotions that are designed to give them a sense of paying attention to their circumstances and their situations, and feelings become the manifestation of the motivation to resolve what this connection means. We want to talk about it because we are in as you, and tell me, if you had a penny for every time you have heard people say the season of love, how many tropical islands in the Caribbean would you own right now? I'm just a ballpark guess. I'm just saying. You hear it so often. Love is the meaning of the season. Love is the essence of what is the congruity and the connectivity that enables us to appreciate the meaning and purpose of human contact. And we still struggle with what that contact actually means. There is a distinct necessity, particularly in the current circumstances and situations that we're encountering, that we do get back to that basic alignment of what love brings to the equation if we are going to, in fact, survive. One of our greater scientists, a guy by the name of Darwin, Charles Darwin, once said, as a sense of how evolution becomes important, it's not the smartest organism that exists. It's not the bravest. It's the one that can adapt, the one that can fluidically, consistently, and by dynamics of that consistency survive. And that's what we need to do. We've got some challenges ahead. We've got some things that are going to demand from us not only the understanding of what love is, but the appreciation for the sense of commitment, the sense of sacrifice, the underscoring of inspiration, and quite frankly, the motivational emphasis that's placed on we are all in this collectively together.
It,
Yeah.
I think that speaks volumes
Mhm.
to exactly the foundation of being able to put clear journey together,
Mhm.
so that people can really see things as an alternative, see clear journey as an alternative, to the way in which we progress through this thing called life. And I think what you add to this conversation is the scientific support that it needs, because from the scientific perspective, yeah, it's not simple. It's not simple, but
No, it's
I,
not.
I think the simplicity of it all comes in the sense that when you put the right motivation with the right attitudes, it's really not that hard when love is at the core of what is making you do what it is you do. And that's the motivation that when you say it's about all of us being in this thing together, and love is the thing that connects us, the thing that it allows us to see purpose in each and every one of us.
Mhm.
And it's through the scientific proof that you just spoke of that we don't understand it that clear. We don't understand that simplicity is that clear. I mean, you and I've had conversations, many conversations,
Oh, yeah.
and and we have, and it's like, man, I can see what you're talking about scientifically because love speaks that language to me. And so that's the idea here, is that we would be able to see how clinical and science is really at the root. It's at the call. It's at the really foundation of what
Oh, yeah.
love really is.
Yeah.
And if we would really understand it in a sense that, hey, um, there is something to this if we only understood it so that we could apply it broadly
Mhm.
across every spectrum of our life. But it takes work. It takes work.
Yeah. And it also takes an appreciation for demystifying it as a concept. And a lot of what I'm hoping that you and I will be able to do as we progress through this is put it in very simple terms. I'm not going to use $75,000 words to talk about something that I could say with 50 cents. We want it at a level where there's an appreciation for the meaning and purpose behind it. And sometimes we can shroud things in mystery and antiquity by using words and phrases
Mhm.
that go over the head and smack against the wall somewhere.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be in basic basic language. I'm gonna talk about how an individual goes through what are the ABCs, the attitudes, the beliefs, the choices, the activating events, the behaviors, and the consequences that come out of the decision making process. And I'm going to dispel as a part of that uh, colloquial expression that says your decisions are significant. It's not the decision that's significant, it's the choice.
Mm-hmm.
The choice establishes a framework for the articulation and the expansion that is the decision. So now we're talking about commitment. The commitment you bring to how you define what it means to be connected to another individual. And don't think that it just is exclusive to individuals, because there are individuals who have pets that, you have to talk them off of a ceiling if something is happening to little Susie or little Fifi. You have to be very careful about how you approach this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is, I'm glad you said that too, because that that walks directly into the question that I have, which is, and this doesn't often happen, right? If someone were to ask you to define love, I love the acronym that you gave, and with the O being organic.
Organic. Yeah.
And many people, when they hear the word love, they immediately draw a line from that word to something that has to do with romantic involvement,
Mm-hmm.
or some type of relational kind of situation, right? That involves romance. But there is a holistic piece around love, and there is a organic component to that that often is not brought up in if we just kept it in the romantic space.
Mm-hmm.
That's not always organic. That's
Oh
often
no.
manufactured, right?
And
So,
manipulate it.
and manipulated, right? So if someone were to ask you to define love and to explain the organic component, how would you do that?
In its most basic expression, love is an emotion. As an emotion, it is an internal acknowledgement of a connection to an aspect of your circumstances and your situation. We call aspects of circumstance and situation your environment. We are connected interoperably with our environment. And the interoperable quality of that connection is reinforced by three very distinct steps. And those steps are understanding, accepting, and acknowledging. If I understand what something is, then its conditions and its limitations are defined for me. The singularity that tells me this is an ink pen, as opposed to this being a remote control unit, says that the conditions and the limitations will have it perform that function and that function only in the context of how I use it. Now, once I can understand that, I can accept it. And why is that important? Because it gives meaning and purpose to what I have connected to. Now, think about it. I love someone, and why do I love that person is a manifestation of the meaning and purpose of that organic continuity and connection. So, by understanding the conditions and the limitations, by accepting the meaning and purpose of said condition and limitation, I now can acknowledge what this means to me. I can now acknowledge that the emotion that is love has established for me a fluidness to my life experience and my life circumstance. That is my meaning and my purpose. Go ahead, Juan. I know you're just dying to jump in there.
No, because again, we're gonna simplify this. So for those that are struggling or might have questions here, is because as I have established this, what you just said is that love is the core thing to our all of our existence in giving us purpose. In giving us purpose, from based on what you're saying, is because our environment allows us to recognize purpose when we allow love to connect it to our environment. And our environment, as I see it and has shared in many ways, is that love is in the pursuit of protecting and preserving humanity, that thing that we all have in common, that environment that we all have in common. And it's that source, love, that connects it. So does that is I mean I'm just trying to bring it down to my simplicity of it, is that that's what we're talking about here, is that vehicle, that is that emotion that you've talked about, that exemplifies this connection.
And the offshoot of that connection becomes the feeling that expresses itself as a behavior.
We got to get there, because
Yeah,
those are
we
the
got to get there.
actions, because those are
Yeah,
the actions now.
those are the actions. And as you begin to think about something and understand it, you can adapt to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As you accept its meaning and purpose, you can adjust to it
With the proper motivation.
with the proper motivation, and that proper motivation being the acknowledgement of its meaning and purpose, now becoming the way in which I make it happen. We call it
So
actualizing.
so let's just, so how do we practice and amplify, apply this? And again, because again, this is how Clear Journey and this and my book connects together, is that it goes into a practical application. That's what Clear
Mhm.
Journey is about, is the practical application. The practical application is, the finances, it's in your relationships, it's in your health and wellness. It's now, how do you connect love, this concept, this emotion, so that you can maximize these areas of your life, so that you can be successful, so that you can reach your potential. And the actions comes in the attitudes, those actions
And
are
because you, go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
No, because you make it a core issue. And understand, core issue means that it is the centralized way in which you're organizing your thoughts, you're orienting orienting yourself. See, this is why we have to have some beverages in the green room. Get that.
Next
You're
time.
orienting yourself to the environment. So you're from a conscious perspective, you're organizing the way that I'm going to relate to the environment I'm in. That's your core. Now, your core is always a matter of survival, because we are instinctively driven to survive. That's our first prime directive, quite frankly, to survive. So, whatever is necessary to facilitate in your mind the awareness of what it is that's necessary for me to survive becomes your need state.
Well, you're getting into Maslow's hierarchy of needs now.
Well, you wanted me to keep it basic, and by
No.
keeping it and by keeping it to that sense of what Maslow speaks to in understanding the progression of emotion to feeling and the awareness of it and its capacity to regulate your thoughts, you begin to see something that's very important. And that something is, unless you have defined what your need state is and are pursuing it, you will never accomplish what you want.
And to simplify that, is just being aware of who you are, in a way in which you and the way in which you pursue it, is that awareness factor.
In that context,
Yeah, well,
absolutely
yeah,
correct.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. But in light of what you're saying, is that
Mhm.
ability to be aware of who you are, because I think everything, as you've described it, if you explain it, it emulates from that awareness.
It all
If
stems from
Because
that.
it's that
Exactly.
choice
Mhm.
that you have to be aware of who you are, and how that impacts how we move and operate from day to day is that awareness state. We have to be in a state of awareness of who we are.
And you're consciously focused on that state. That becomes what is referred to as your conscious reality. This is what I am aware of is happening to me at this very moment. Now, in the acknowledgement of that, as it happens to me in this moment, I have placed myself in what is called spatial orientation. You've heard it expressed as person, place, time, and circumstance. I'm the person, this is the place, this is the time, and this is the circumstance. Now, how truthful am I in expressing what that circumstance means to me is that acknowledgement of the need as opposed to the want. Am I telling myself the truth about this or not? We call that reality testing. Sometimes you hear it expressed as your attitude in equals your belief and behavior out. So what you put in as an attitude is a belief and a behavior you're going to get out of it, and it reinforces your perception of whom you are in that circumstance and that situation. Oliver, I see it bubbling up.
Yeah. So I want to go back a little bit, and you just mentioned it again. So
Mhm.
again, you keep setting me up for these questions, so I love it. You talked about
Team us.
the you talked about the journey from uh, the emotion and the feeling all the way to the behavior, right?
Exactly. Hmm.
Often we run across individuals who are able to express the emotion. They try to convince us that they feel the feeling, but the behaviors are not in alignment.
Hmm.
What's happening in that disconnect?
There is, at the earliest point of acknowledgement of your circumstances and your situations, three things that happen. They are why and how you're orientating yourself, organizing your thoughts, and operationalizing, making those thoughts happen. This is who you are. Notice that acronym again. Why and how you organize, orient, and operationalize. When you become mindful of that, you give meaning and purpose to it. So the moment I understand, accept, and acknowledge, because that is thinking, critical thinking, and reasoning, the moment I understand, accept, and acknowledge, behaviorally, I can adapt, adjust, and achieve the messaging and the purpose. When I have not effectively separated my emotion from that process, emotion will continue in its intensity to draw my attention to the lack of that separation.
Hmm.
So the emotion becomes stronger. We sometimes refer to that as the just noticeable difference between what was happening a moment ago and what's taking place right now. If I do not acknowledge that just noticeable difference, the emotion that is linked to my survival will increase in its intensity. It will increase in its vibrance. It will increase in what is sometimes necessary to grab me by the collar and shake me, saying out loud, pay attention to me. Because until you become, what's the word I use, mindful of this connection, you will be manipulated by its intensity. Now, you heard me spell out who, why, how you organize, orient, operationalize. When I put mindful on it, you are no longer a little who in whoville. You are a whom. You now have purpose and meaning. You now have established yourself as someone who can be aware of how to, and this is a key point, regulate my emotional intensity. I can determine what's the most productive and beneficial way in which I can express my awareness and my acknowledgement of my circumstances and my situation. The big
So,
money calls that reality testing.
okay,
Go ahead.
how do they do that though? How do they
They,
come to that? How do they, if they recognize that that's not what's happening, or
mhm.
that's what's happening? I mean, because many times, I guess, Oliver, you would say that people, there is a disconnect, and
There is.
they're not getting it.
Oh, there's a huge disconnect.
But what are the steps to help a person to be able to overcome that disconnect?
by first believing and acknowledging that there is a separation point between you acknowledge your connection to something and its meaning and purpose to you.
Give an example, Oliver, of what a situation would be, that would, how that would play out.
Well, so obviously I'm gonna come from the personal marital dating
Mm-hmm.
type relationship perspective,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So you often have individuals who they go through this period where they're in love, right?
Mhm.
And you talked about that intensity piece, right? And how you can be manipulated by that intensity if you're not careful. And so we see that happening, right? And then over time, the behaviors, the actions, the level of commitment do not align with that level of intensity that we first saw, right?
All right.
Which often brings in the question, did you really feel what you said you felt? Was that intensity really love or was it something else? As that intensity lessens, is it because you no longer feel what you feel, or is it because you did not make those connecting, you didn't acknowledge, you didn't accept, you didn't go through that process that would get you to the place where you now your behaviors are in alignment with that. And so that's, I think, for Juan asking that question, my question would be, okay, how do you now, how do you avoid being in a space where the intensity has caused you to void out the rest of the process?
Not so much void out as to be inundated by
Okay.
the energy of the intensity, because it's still there. It's
Okay.
still there. And this is where you will most productively pursue what we refer to in psychology as the basic core components of cognitive and behavioral management.
Hmm.
Okay. And there are five basic steps that we want to be able to take whenever we do this. The first is to have someone come in and be able to describe to us what it is you're experiencing. You come in, I love her. I love her to death. I just can't get past the fact that, I love her so much that anytime she does not acknowledge my love, I got to grab her by the head, swing her around,
Hmm.
and beat her into realizing. And what are you saying? Because I love her. Right. This is how I express it. Two black eyes, a broken shoulder in the emergency room at 2 o'clock in the morning is not love.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
So you come in and you describe that. The second thing that I want to do when you're describing that, notice I juxtapose putting myself in that place now, but this is what any therapist, trained therapist, and I'm going to emphasize that, trained therapist is going to attempt to do. I want to be able to explain to you what you just described to me. And why do I want to do that? Because by explaining to you what you have just described, I'm going to take you to where your question, Oliver, is 90% of the time the most accurate depiction of what you just described, the predictability of what your actions are.
Mhm.
The predictability. The longer you stay confused by something, the more you will be confused by it. The more resistance you bring to the acknowledgement and the acceptance of what it is you understand, the more difficult it becomes for you to achieve a purposing and meaning. So, in essence, when you understand something, you can adapt to it. When I accept what I understand, I can adjust to it. I can adjust to the way that I can most effectively articulate to her or him how much I love them within the parameters of our relationship. I'm mindful of why and how. I've organized my thoughts. I've oriented myself to the meaning and purpose of this relationship that we are in. And it is now a relationship.
Mhm.
There's an alignment here. There's the expectation and the acknowledgement of what it is that we're saying when this living, organic, vibrant emotion, this love, presents itself. I want you to be able to predict it because if you do not see how to prevent a behavior from existing, you're going to continue that process
Mhm.
until it is resolved. And this is where the fourth element in what that behavioral modification process or that thinking process fulfills itself, the separation between something that is controlling and something that is managed. There's a distinct difference between controlling and managing. Control speaks to the ability to suppress, depress, and repress, to stop something from happening. I blow up a balloon and I tie off the balloon, and all of the air that's inside of that balloon is encompassed by the balloon itself. So when I start squeezing the balloon to the center, both sides will expand, and eventually the balloon will pop. The balloon pops because the air could not adapt and adjust to the change in its environment. I get another balloon. I used to say, I blew up the balloon again, but I was talking to a group of elementary kids several years ago, long years ago. And there was this one kid in the back who raised her hand and said, "Hey, you can't blow up that balloon because you just popped it." So out of deference to little Susie, I said, "I get another balloon and I blow it up the same way I did the last one, but this time I used two fingers on the lip of the balloon. One finger is my self-awareness, and the other finger is my situational awareness. The moment I become aware that the balloon is now being squeezed, I get little Susie to come up because, I'm holding the balloon here. I say, squeeze the balloon for me, Susie. She comes up and she starts squeezing it as hard as she can. My self-awareness and my situational awareness tell me that something is occurring here that I must pay attention to. That's what an emotion is. Something is happening you have to pay attention to in this circumstance, in this situation. I reason because I can think, critically think and reason. I reason that if I move my circumstance in another direction, then I'm giving the air inside of the balloon the opportunity to find another pathway. The cheap question is, the harder you squeeze the balloon and the more I move my two fingers, the more I regulate the flow of the air from the balloon, it will not rupture. Now, I understand acts of a higher power. I got that. At any point in time, a higher power can say, I'm going to make the balloon burst just to mess with you today because I feel like messing with you today. I'm just kidding. Don't give me that stoic look there, Juan. You're
Hey,
scaring me
hey,
here.
hey,
You're scaring me here.
hey.
Point back, mindful. I'm mindful of the circumstance I'm in. It says, as the balloon is being squeezed, move it. How many times have you heard people say, and when I say it, I know I'm going to take you back to that movie Frozen. Let it go. Just let it go.
Mhm.
When we are in the heat of an emotional upheaval, that means that something has happened in our circumstances that is so critical, it's challenging our sense of survival. Because remember, survival is your first instinct. When I am so emotionally wound to the point where all I can see is the threat that exists in front of me, then I have to acknowledge why fear is the strongest of the emotions that we have, because fear will tell you precisely what it is about your environment you have the ability to overcome. If you were afraid of cats, Juan, why would I be discussing the fear of fire? What did you tell me you were afraid of? Cats.
Mm-hmm.
You already know what it is. I already know I love this person. Why do I love this person? Because this person answers for me the sense of affection, the sense of alignment, the sense of attachment, the sense of collective bonding. That is the relationship we form that now becomes the partnership we engage in. This person answers everything for me, but I just can't seem to get past whatever that controlling entity is until I
Uh,
learn how to manage its meaning and purpose to me. Go ahead.
well, identification there. It leads back into
Identification.
identification.
Precisely.
And apart from that identification, you're going to continually run into that same uh, block, barricade, so to speak, in any situation. And that's why it's so very interesting, because these concepts or these things that you're talking about, they're universal. They are across all acts of your life and all areas of your life. So as to, once you get these steps down that you just alluded to, and
Mhm.
that awareness is over all areas of your life, this awareness begins to now bring value in everything that you do, if you're able to process what you just said. And that
Separating, I'm sorry,
go ahead. No,
separating again, control
from
from
management,
manage.
right?
Now look at the fluid state that provides for you. I can seamlessly go from a problem to its solution and give meaning and purpose to reinforcing my ability to do that. That's our second and third instinct. My the ability to reproduce the thought, the mechanism that enables me to do that, the emotional gratitude that I get, third instinct, the emotional gratitude I get from being able to consistently do it enhances my attitude about it. And by enhancing my attitude about it, making me more mindful of whom I truly am. Am I somebody who wants to constantly smash my girlfriend's face into a mirror, my boyfriend's face into a frying pan, or the Al Green hot grits theory, but we won't talk about that. We're in polite company.
So
Or do I want to be somebody who makes a change in my life?
there is the critical part, is the
Therein lies the critical part.
is being aware of what it is that you want.
And because it's what I want, remember the premise? This is what I need to do to get it.
Right. But I mean,
And
it's the awareness though of that being a want though. I
and you
think,
have to acknowledge that
yeah,
separation point between a want and a need.
yeah.
Would you say too that from just holistically, right?
Mhm.
That there needs to be within that also the willingness to be selfless in your approach,
Oh, absolutely.
because the
Absolutely.
selfishness piece, and again, I'm coming from the
Yeah.
personal relationship piece. The selfishness
Mhm.
piece often is the barrier that does not allow all of that process that you just described to take place.
And you know where that
I'm thinking
barrier
about
comes from?
myself.
That barrier comes from fear,
Hmm.
the selfishness. How does the selfishness minimize the selflessness That occurs when a person actually realizes there is something here greater than the singularity of me. You know, we've seen that there's a biblical quotation that says, greater love hath no man. And, you know, we should clean it up. Greater love have no human than to lay down their life for another. You know, people will stand in amazement that first responders go charging towards the fire when everybody is beating feet away from it, knowing full well that I may not come out of this. But it is more important that I save a life. And by saving that life, I give life. You see a greater purpose and a greater meaning. Love gives you that capacity once you overcome the fear of selfishness and self awareness that can be manipulated into selfishness,
Hmm.
your purpose and your meaning.
Yeah.
Gratification becomes that fifth objective. We call it application, gratification. I now realize that I think, therefore I am, therefore I think. Meaning and purpose rolled into one. That's your fourth instinct. I think, therefore I am, therefore I think. When people see that articulating itself and permeating through whatever relationship they start out with, they now have opened the threshold to the doorway that becomes the partnership they form. This is why you want this person to hang around a little longer.
Hmm.
This is why
And
you want this person to be more engaging and influential in your life. Go ahead.
so it's really at the core of this process
Mhm.
is the motivation that I speak of and talk about in being that it's greater, it's about something that's bigger than yourself. Because that's what selflessness is all about. It's
Exactly.
it's collectively understanding that this is about something that is bigger than yourself, and the process that you are have articulated is how you can facilitate that in a way in which it's beneficial to not only yourself but to all of those around you in the way in which you apply it.
And look at the example you set by doing that. You know, we talk about the Beatitudes. We talk about how an individual aligns himself with the sense that he who is in need is he who should be serviced. We see ourselves in a position where we can now bring some sense of congruity and some sense of connectedness to the lives that we touch. You know, we talk about life and we talk about its core grounding. You know, life metaphorically is simply a logical, integrated, fluidic environment. It's constantly moving. It's integrated into everything that we do, and it's always going to be a manifestation of our environment. Now, we determine our environmental circumstances. We define that. You know, I could be the guy who's, you know, sitting on the corner with a barrel and a sign saying, "Feed the poor," or I could be the guy who drives my car by him as quickly as I can, not even acknowledging that he's there. Or I could be the one who rolls down the window and gives them a five spot or whatever I can spare at that time. I can be any of those three individuals in that scenario. And the thing that connects me to that scenario is the purposing and meaning of the struggle I have acknowledged as my commitment to my life.
Hmm.
That's the selfishness of it that becomes the selflessness of it
Hmm.
that is sometimes difficult for individuals to see.
Yeah.
You know, you could be
That's
looking
good.
too close at the mirror.
That's good. That's good.
Well, that's the kind of comparison and practicality that we want to continue on a regular basis. Hopefully, that our community can begin to appreciate the understanding of the transition that love does play. And it's a practical management tool that we can use, instead of, it's more than just an emotion. It's the
Oh yeah.
ability for us to be able to be practical, for us to be able to implement the tools, the resources that come along with this word,
Mhm.
and into our everyday life, and what we will do going forward. And I guess we can just share a little bit about where we're heading with this dialogue.
Oh yeah.
Um, if you could, Oliver,
Mhm.
could you put up our intro for the new podcast that we're going to be introducing coming the new year?
You want the intro or you want the graphic?
Just the intro. Just let's play the intro.
All right, let's do the intro. One
The
second.
teaser.
1 second. Did I load the intro in
It's
here?
in there. It's
That's
in
in
there.
there.
All
You
right,
know
hold
you got it in there. Magic fingers.
here's
There
a
we
here's a
go.
here's a
There's a
graphic. Let's
graphic.
That's the
let's get
graphic,
the intro.
but the intro is in there.
Yeah.
You see it?
I don't see the intro in here.
Uh-oh.
Um, let's do this then. I got it.
Oh, now I
What if
see it.
love
Oh,
is more than just a feeling? What if it's a universal force shaping how we understand ourselves, our community, and the world? Welcome to the Philosophy of Love, where we break down the science behind love, how it influences our minds, our behaviors, and the way we connect with humanity. Join us as we explore the psychology of love as a driving force for empathy, growth, and understanding. You're watching the Philosophy of Love podcast with Juan Lee and Dr. James Brockington.
I was in the wrong folder.
Well, that's okay.
Well, that's
But
better
that,
than the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right.
but that's what we're launching in the new year. A new podcast, a new show that will be on in the new year, that we want to be able to break down the practicality of love and how we can apply it to our
Mhm.
lives, using the understanding, the science behind it, and the need for understanding. As Dr. Brockington has said, it's only after we understand is that when we can begin to accept. And what we're going to embark on is bring forth understanding, so that we can all operate in acceptance, because right there is the pivotal point.
Oh yeah.
As what he said is the pivotal point for change, for that ability for love to take root and begin to demonstrate itself, not only in our own lives, but in the lives of those around us, as we connect that awareness that we have of ourselves to one another. And
Absolutely.
and so that's the idea. I hope that all of you will join us, and we'll keep you up to date on what's going on and how it's going to be launched in the new year. It will be in the evenings. We haven't put a schedule in it, but it will be launching in the new year. And it won't be live though. Let's just say that it won't be live. It's going to be on YouTube. You will be able to find it on Clear Journey's YouTube channel. Um, and that's what we want to do. We want us to be able to grow together, and allow our lives to be knitted together, so that we can all be successful in this thing called life. Um,
Absolutely.
anything else you want to say, add, Dr. Brockington,
You know,
before we leave?
we do want to emphasize that it may not be live. All of the broadcasts may not be live, but if there is a question or a concern
Mhm.
that you want to present to us, not only will we contact you and
Oh,
give you a response, but we'll also ask your permission to use it as some of the source material in our discussions.
And Dr. Brockington will give you his address. He has a Clear Journey email address. I guess we will give you another one that will be just strictly clinical. Um,
Exactly.
but we will give you one where we will give access to our audience so that if there is any clarity or questions that they might have, that they might be able to reach out to you and get that kind of support.
Yep.
But what we want to do is to build a community that we want to be a platform that will really be able to support you at all of your needs in every area. And we believe that mental and physical health,
Mhm.
health awareness is very important, and our ability to navigate life. So we look forward to it. We really do look forward to it. Somebody might know something, Charlotte.
Yeah, it's a strong Delta sister down there. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
welcome, welcome, welcome. Who's that? Denise. Welcome, Denise. Thank you. We will put the schedule out. It will probably be released on a Wednesday or third. It's either going to be a Tuesday or Thursday night because we don't want to combat with It's Life Live because It's Life will continue to be on Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock. So this will be either a Tuesday night release or a Thursday night release, and we look forward to people continuing to participate and be a part of the community. Oliver, you have anything?
No, this was good, man. This is a great introductory masterclass to what you guys will be bringing to the table in the new year. So I urge you all, those of you who are watching now or watching the replay, that you just get ready for this, man. This is going to be a good thing to put in your repertoire of listening material and viewing material. If this today's conversation is any indicator of what you will be inundated with here for.
Your mic going out, Oliver.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Oh, now we can.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
now we can't.
Oh
yeah,
wow, I went out, huh?
yeah.
Yeah, I was
You,
just gonna say if this conversation is indicative of what you're going to be inundated with, you're in for a treat. So make sure you
yeah.
set your sights for that
Yeah.
in the new year.
Well, yeah. We really, like I said, we really want to make this thing called love practical. We want to make it really about a thing called love action, so that you will be able to put action to love, so people can see it,
Yeah.
demonstrate it, so that we can begin to implement this thing and it not be so abstract, but it can be very practical. Um, so, with that being said, um, I don't know if we have anything else. I want to thank everybody who participated in our podcast tonight. Thank you for being here. If you have not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, no matter what platform you watched us on tonight, go over to our YouTube channel and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up, and help us continue to build the audience, or the community. And also share this podcast, this wherever you saw it. Share it to your friends and others who might want to be a part of the community. We really appreciate you being here with us, and we look forward to seeing you again. Let me just share with Oliver. Oliver, let people know how they can reach you.
Sure. You can reach me if you're a social media person. The social media handle is right there at Denali LLC everywhere. I am an author, a speaker, a coach in the relationship building space. You heard me asking my questions from a relational standpoint. That's because my passion is seeing relationships thrive, seeing couples build and maintain the relationship of their dreams, and seeing small corporate teams have the greatest synergy on earth. I'm also the author of the book Overcoming the Man Laws for the man who wants to be his best despite what he was taught. Want to see
Mhm.
men win and thrive in every area of their lives. And so again, social media handle Denali at Denali LLC everywhere. If you happen to be a email person, you can email me at the email on your screen. I would love to have a conversation with you.
And that is what we do. We're building a community
Mhm.
of resources so that you can get or have um, the equipment to navigate this thing called life, relationships, finances, health and wellness, and any other aspect. It all starts with the right mindset. And that being the case, again, if you want to reach out to me, you can reach me at clearjourney.org, info at clearjourney.org, or by all means, if you want to learn more about Clear Journey, go over to clearjourney.org, where we have other resources there for you also. Again, I think that wraps it all up. Dr. Brockington, we thank you. We appreciate you. We look forward to our collaboration again. Dr. Brockington is also on the board of Clear Journey's board also.
Ah,
So let's be clear. This is his initiation into the fire, but he's been with us for some
ooh,
time. Okay. And he and I automatically connected. I don't know if you all picked up on it, but he's a veteran, as I explained to you, and we really connected from jump. Some 2 years ago, was introduced to him, and he resonated with me, and I resonated with him because it's something similar. It's something
yeah.
about the military. It's about psychology. It's about love. It's
Hey,
about it's about it's about something bigger than ourselves
yeah,
that we adapt, that we are connected to, that allowed us to really connect. So I'm looking forward to that. I want to thank you again for being with us. And like I said, anything else, anybody else? So I'll just call it a night.
No, it's all good. Thank you to those of you who
yeah.
were in the comments, who watched live. Thank you for being here. We saw several people in the comments. Thank you for lending to this conversation. Shout out to
Absolutely.
North Carolina and shout out to South Carolina. I
That's
saw in
right.
the comments
Yeah.
Charleston, South Carolina. Let me just say, last year for my anniversary, we went to Charleston, South Carolina. Had a phenomenal time. It is a beautiful place. I will be back.
Oh, yeah, yeah, pile it
Oh
on
yeah.
there. Pile it on there.
I will
Pile
be
it
back.
on, Oliver. Yeah,
I saw Charleston, South Carolina. It just brought
Yeah.
back great memories,
Hey, that's
yes,
fantastic memories.
yeah.
So
I'm going down there
I
too. I'm
will,
going to South Carolina too.
I will be back. Denise
Come,
Denise is in the comments, said he was the chief psychologist at DOC when I worked in Chesapeake. We've been connected since 2001. Shout out to Denise Sparks in the comments.
hey, there you go.
oh, well, all right. Then we're gonna bring back a lot of relationships because we're gonna be here and bring them all on.
Oh yeah.
Bring them all back. We're gonna stir it up so that everybody can hear and experience what Denise had in that 21 years ago. Um, so we're excited about that. Thank you, Denise, for being here, and hopefully you can bring others to experience what you've already experienced with the doctor. So that being said, as usual, we're gonna wrap the show up tonight. And as we say at the end of every show, we can't change life, but we surely can help you navigate it just a little bit better. Until next
Absolutely.
time, we look forward to seeing you. Have a great evening. Thanks
Good
again.
night, all. Yeah.
Have a good night. Happy Thanksgiving to you all.
Most
Absolutely.
definitely. Most definitely.